ಯಾರು ಅವರು ನಾವಲ್ಲ ಯಾರು ಕೆಟಗಿರಿ ಅವರು ಬರ ನಾವಿಲ್ಲ ಕೆಟಗಿರಿ ಎನ್ಕ್ವೈರಿ ಭಾಳ ವಿಚಾರ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಭಯಂಕರ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಭಾಳ हाँ बेटा पीयूष सब कॉपी एडिटेड रिपोर्ट है ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಮತ್ತೆ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಜಂಬರ ಕಾಮರ್ಸ್ ಅವ್ರು ರೊಮ್ಯಾನ್ಸ್ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಶೀಟ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಶೀಟ್ ಬರೋಮಿಸ್ चार पीछे ಇದು ಎರಡು ನಿಮಿಷ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಇದು ಹಾಕಿದ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು ಹೆಜ್ಜೆ ಲೈಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಒಬ್ಬರು
ಲೈವ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೀಮಿಂಗ್ ಐತಿ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗದ್ರಿ ಲಿಂಕ್ ಫಾರ್ವರ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿರಿ ನೀವು ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ನನಗೆ ಹಾಕೋದ್ರೆ ಮಿಷನ್ ಗೊತ್ತೈತೆ ಒಂದು ಗುಡಿಗೂ ಹಾಕಿ ಅಷ್ಟು ಬಿಡ್ರಿ ನನಗೆ ನಾನು ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಯಡಿಯೂರಪ್ಪ ನಂಬರ್ ಬೇಕು ಹೆಸರೇ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ
क्या सर बैंक ऑफिस बंद करके है क्या बैलेंस शीट
ಆಮೇಲೆ ಸುಣ್ಣ ಬಣ್ಣ ಹೌದು ಸುಣ್ಣ ಬಣ್ಣ
ಸರ್ ಇವಾಗ ನೋಡಿ ಸರ್ ರೊಟೇಟ್ ಡಿವೈಸ್ ಅಂದರೆ ರೊಟೇಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಏನು ಮಾಡಲಿ ಸರ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎನೇಬಲ್ ಫ್ಲಾಶ್ ಐತಿ ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮೈಕ್ರೋಫೋನ್ ಐತಿ ಶೇರ್ ಅಂತೈತಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡಲಿ ಚೇಂಜ್ ರೊಟೇಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಏನು ಮಾಡಲಿ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಆಪ್ಷನ್ ಇಲ್ಲ
ಬರ್ರಿ ನಾರಾಯಣ ಹೆಸರು ಬರ್ತದೆ
टक्कर हो जाएगा लेकिन हमें से सेल्स
ಲಾಕ್ ಆಗೈತಿ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ ಡಿವೈಸ್ ಯಾರು ಇದೆ ಹಾಂ ಅವಕ್ಕೆ ಲಾಕ್ ಆಗೈತಿ
ಸಿಹಿ ಒಂದು ಫ್ಲೋದ ಬಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇಷ್ಟ ಇದೆ ಇಷ್ಟ
ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟಿಗೇಷನ್
ತೋರಿಸಿದ್ದೆ ಕಮರ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಮೈಂಡೆಡ್ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ನಾನು ಇದಕ್ಕೂ
ಬರ್ರಿ
ಏನು ಮಾಡೋದು ಬೇಡ ರಾತ್ರಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಹನ್ನೆರಡು ಕೋಟಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ ಕೋಟಿ ನಾವು ತುಂಬಿ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲರ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಅರೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು ಎರಡು ಮಳಿಗೆ
ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಮುಂದೆ ಮುಂದೆ ಹಂಗೆ
ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಟೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಈ ಕಡೆ
ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ಗೆ ಯಾರು ಇಬ್ಬರು ಸಿಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ದಂಗೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಚಲೋ ಗೋಲ್ ಕೆಲವು ಜನ ಎಲ್ಲ ನಾಯಕರು ಸಮಯ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಕೆ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಸರ್ ರಾಜಕೀಯ ಮಾಡಲೇಬೇಕಲ್ಲ ಕಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳೆಲ್ಲ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಒಂದು ವಯಸ್ಸು ಬೇಕು ಬೇಕು ಸೈಲಾದ್ರೂ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಯುವಕರನ್ನ ಖರ್ಚು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಹಿಡಿದು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಒಂದು ಸಾಲ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಸಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಫೋಟೋ ಬನ್ನಿ ಪ್ರವೀಣ ಗೆಸ್ಟ್ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಗೆಸ್ಟ್ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರವೀಣ ಚಾಪಡ ತ್ರೀ ಹಾಕಿಲ್ಲ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಚೆಂಬರ್
ಈಗ ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ ದಾವಣಗೆರೆಗೆ ಅದೊಂದು ಒಂದೂವರೆ ತಾಸು ಅನುಕೂಲ ಫಾರ್ಟಿ ಅವರ್ ಜರ್ನಿ ಅಲ್ಲ ಟ್ರೈನಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ ಸಾಯಂಕಾಲ चालू जीप ಸರ್ವೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದೇ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್
ಹಿಂದೆ ರೈತ ಟಚ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಲಾಕ್ ಐತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೂ ಕರೆದು ಕೇಳಿದೆ ಕೈ ಟಚ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹಿಂಗಡಿಲ್ಲ ಹಿಡ್ಕೊಳಕ್ಕೆ ಬಿಡಲ್ಲ
ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಗಿತ್ತು ಮತ್ತೆ ದಿನ ಕಟ್ಟಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಲೈಟ್
ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಿದೆ.
Karnataka Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Hubballi, seeded on 1st of August 1928 at Bagalkot before independence by late Sri Mugayaswamy Jengu, with the wholehearted support and active participation of late Sri Srinivas Rao Mangalavedi and Sri Nagapanna Abdul Purkar, initially known as Karnataka Vanik Sangh. The main objective in establishing the organization was to unite business community and to represent the trade industry for addressing their issues with government. Over the years, the institution shifted its office to Gadag and then to Hubballi at Jayachamraj Nagar. With exemplary donations from business magnates like industrial tycoons like late Sri G. Madevappa, Sri C.S. Desai and Sri Veerabhadrappa M. Chigateri, after whose name the auditorium and the Annexure complex are named. Third floor was built with the generous donations from the management of the Sirsi Urban Sahakari Bank Limited, Sirsi in memory of its founder, Sri S. N. Keshwain. Initial days, the Chamber's contribution in the unification movement is significant. In 1930, the Chamber played a significant role in unification of states and submitted a memorandum to Dar Commission and also to State Reorganization Commission. Over a period of time, this institution has germinated, culminated and fructified into a prestigious institution with the dynamic successive presidents of the institution have taken it to great heights with their relentless efforts, dedication, devotion and discipline. The institution has grown in strength and stature with over 3,000 members from the nooks and corners of Karnataka, with affiliation from many associations from trade and industry and district chambers associations. Karnataka Chamber of Commerce and Industry, popularly known as KCCI, is affiliated to Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry, New Delhi, the Associated Chambers of Commerce and Industry of India, New Delhi. The Chamber has spread its activities to overseas and has led a delegation of exporters, importers to Sri Lanka, Germany, China, South Korea, Dubai and Malaysia. through its export promotion cell. Past President Shri M.C. Hiremat participated in WTO's seminar on Way Forward to Doha Resolutions. The Chamber played a significant role in the spread of higher education in North Karnataka. It urged for the establishment of a separate university for North Karnataka area of erstwhile Bombay state, including separate colleges for agriculture, engineering, commerce and medicine. Shri Mahabaleshwarappa, the then president of the chamber, was appointed as a member of the committee set by the erstwhile Bombay government to examine the feasibility of establishing a separate university for the region. All these institutions are now a reality. The JG College of Commerce, Hubli, was sponsored by the chamber by donating a sum of rupees 1.2 lakhs. KCCI, with the help of Government of Karnataka, established multi-purpose exhibition center at Amarkol APMC on 9 acres of land at the cost of rupees 7 crore. At this venue, IncomeX 2013 and 2016 were successfully held. Chamber's Silver Jubilee was celebrated during 1957 under the presidentship of Shri Shantappanna Yelamani and then Honorable Chief Minister of Karnataka, Shri Nijalingappa, was the chief guests. The Bhumi Puja for the existing building was held in 1965. Golden Jubilee was celebrated during 1979 under the presidentship of Shri J.P. Javadi and His Excellency Shri Govinda Narayan, Governor of Karnataka, inaugurated, and Shri George Fernandez, Honorable Union Minister of Industry, was the chief guest of the function. As a mark of the Golden Jubilee celebration, Golden Jubilee Trust was established to cater to the needs of education to students and also imparting the knowledge of business and trade for the members. The Diamond Jubilee of the Chamber was celebrated during 1991 under the presidentship of K.B. Desai, which was inaugurated by Shri Shantanu Rao Kirloskar. Chamber celebrated its Platinum Jubilee during 2005 under the presidentship of Shri Shankaranna Munavalli and revered Jnana Yogi Siddheshwara Swamiji of Jnana Yogashrama of Bijapur in the presence of Shri H.K. Patil. Honorable Minister unveiled the statue of founder Shri Mrugaya Swami Jangin during inauguration. Shri N. Dharam Singh, Honorable Chief Minister of Karnataka, and Chief Guest Shri Baba Kalyani of Bharat Forge Limited delivered keynote addresses. The Chamber had also added feathers to its crown by inviting distinguished personalities to address its members on state and central budget, economic policies, liberalization, privatization, globalization, GATT, impact of WTO, etc. And they were late Dr. P.R. Brahmanand, late Shri Nani Palkiwala, Shri D.R. Pense, Justice Shri Shivraj Patel, Shri Sharu Ranganekar, Dr. Majumdar, Shri Ramjet Malani, former Honorable Minister of Law and Justice, Government of India, so on. The Chamber played a pivotal role in bringing requirements of North Karnataka like High Court bench, all-weather Karwar port, broad gauge between Gadag and Bijapur, upgradation of existing airport, Southwestern Railway Zone, IT Park, IIT, Triple IT, Internet services and many more. The Chamber is instrumental in establishing Karnataka Material Testing Laboratories, which is only one of its kind in this region to meet the requirements of industries. The Chamber is issuing Certificate of Origin to exporters, which is a great boon for the exporters. The Chamber has to its credit many laurels of having organized industrial exhibitions, seminars and symposia on various trade, agriculture, industry and export. The Chamber, in order to promote and develop industries, organized mega events, namely IncomeX 1996, IncomeX 2002, IncomeX 2007, IncomeX 2013, and IncomeX 2016. The functions were attended by distinguished personalities, viz. Shri Deve Gowda, the then Chief Minister of Karnataka, Shri Shantanu Kirloskar of Kirloskar Group of Industries, and Shri Ratan Tata, CEO of Tata Group of Industries. Shri Jagdish Shettar, ex-Chief Minister, Shri Basavaraj Horatti, and many others. The Chamber cherishes the trust reposed by all the stakeholders through Karnataka Vanijya, a monthly bulletin, which is a mirror outlining the legislative measures, notifications and amendments. The Chamber has representation in following institutions: Industries Vision Group, constituted by Government of Karnataka; ZRUCC member SWR, DRUCC member SWR, member RAC of Central Excise, Customs and Service Tax, member Hubballi Airport Development Advisory Committee, member KERC, member ITI, member IT Park Advisory Committee. Also, Chamber was in the Board of Management in Marmagao Port Trust for a long time and one time in New Bangalore Port Trust. The KCCI recognizes the great achievers in industry and commerce and honor them on 1st of August every year, on the day of Samstapakar Dinacharani. This is the Karnataka Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. Yeah. Good evening. Now I'd like to welcome and invite Praveen Agdi, Secretary of Chamber of Commerce, on stage. And I'd like to invite President Vinay Javali and also the chief guest of this session, today's session, Dr.Anil Lamba, on stage, please. Request President Vinay Javali to address the gathering and formally welcome the gathering as well.
Good evening to one and all. Elrigo namaskara. I wouldn't say evening, but it's good afternoon to all of you. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to this event on romancing the balance sheet. It is my great pleasure to welcome our chief event speaker, Dr. Anil Lamba, on behalf of all of you and KCCI. Dr. Anil Lamba is a well-known chartered accountant and who has authored or written many books on different subjects, and who will drive us through this evening on the subject how to read or understand balance sheets. I was awestruck by his caption of the book written by him, Romancing the Balance Sheet, and I am quite sure we all will benefit by his talk and strategies on the subject. I welcome our, I don't know whether to welcome because we become a part of our chamber. I welcome all of you. I welcome our past president. I welcome different people who have come from Haveri, Ranebellur and Bangi. And I once again warmly welcome one and all. See, though it is a very warm, sunny afternoon, I think this word romancing with the balance sheet, or the word romance, has brought all of us to today here just to understand what is this romance. So romance always plays a very vital role.
Photo romance also.
So with this brief, I welcome you, all of you once again. Thank you.
Thank you, Vinay. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening once again. My name is Shashida Shettar. I am the chair of program committee at KCCI. It gives me immense pleasure and welcome you for this insightful session on romancing the balance sheet. I think there are further books written by Dr. Anil. Those are continuing the romance part of it. So the other book's title is Flirting with Stocks. Another one is Eye on the Bottom Line.
How about getting up balance sheet?
That's coming up. That's a new version. So very interesting caption, but the content is very profound and depth in terms of business finance. I hope this session will help you to get a deeper understanding how to manage your finance better. At Karnataka Chamber of Commerce, we started this series of workshop and masterclass. From this quarter onwards, we will keep doing these kind of sessions regularly, so that you can take the insights and scale and sustain your business as well. So we'll have an upcoming session probably next month on theory of constraints, which is one philosophy very well known throughout the world. It's a very profound way to manage your business. Today we are very honored to have Dr. Anil Lamba as a speaker for this session. Anil Lamba is a renowned bestseller, a financial literacy activist, and an international corporate trainer. I would like to draw everybody's attention that Dr. Anil Lamba is the founder of two initiatives that have gained immense popularity in the recent times. These are initiatives to make the nation stronger as well as your organization stronger. The first initiative is Financial Intelligent Organization, that is called FIO. So that's going to be a very breakthrough initiative where, like ISO certification, every organization will be certified as the FIO under this initiative. So that means right from your the bottom of your pyramid of your worker to the management, everybody will be trained how this is going to impact on your your finance part of it. So everybody is included in your finance game. So that will definitely help you to sustain and grow, and that FIO certification will have probably a lot of validation in terms of all your stakeholders, people dealing with vendors, your banks, all stakeholders, will be say if it's a FIO certified company, then there is a huge credibility for that. I think thanks for initiating that, a new initiative for us. And second one is more of a nation building initiative. So that's financial literacy for all. This is very, very important, and it's a social responsibility project. Dr. Anil Lamba is doing it to spread financial literacy to billions of Indians. So Dr. Lamba firmly believes that literacy is the key for economic empowerment, and this project contributes to the nation building process, as I said earlier. In conclusion, I thank you all for attending the session, and I hope this will be very informative. So I'd like to welcome Dr. Anil Lamba and with this session now. Thank you.
President Mr. Jabli, Mr. Praveen, Secretary, Mr. Mande, Mr. Shettyar, some wonderful people I met a little while back, and all of you. Thank you so much for inviting me here today. I hope a lot of expectations haven't been raised about romancing and so on, because we are coming down to earth now, back to balance sheets and hardcore numbers. But I'd like to start by asking you my favorite question. Tell me, how many of you, okay, let me start with this question. We were talking about Tata Motors just now. How do you describe this company, guys? What business are they in? How do you describe this company? What about this company? Are these answers correct? All these answers are absolutely wrong. Folks, these three companies, or for that matter, any business that you are in, all of us are actually in the same business. And never to forget that the business of running a business enterprise is to make profit. Tata Motor does it through manufacturing motor cars, and Wipro does it through IT services, but the single objective of running a business is to make profit. Your methods are different. Second question I want to ask you before I begin, how many of you are non-finance people?
Almost all.
Many hands are up, many are not up also. That's interesting. But those hands which were up, once again my answer is absolutely wrong. When I ask you how many of you are non-finance people, not a single hand should have gone up. So that raises an interesting question. You are saying you are non-finance, I am saying you should not say so. The problem seems to be in the way we are defining who a finance person is. So not a bad point to start this conversation. What do I mean? We are all finance people. Not a single person is a non-finance person. Who is a finance person? What is the job of a finance person? Is it the job of a finance person to track financial information, to collect financial data, to record that data, to collate that data, to present that data, to prepare financial statements like profit loss accounts and balance sheets? Is that the job of the finance person? And the answer is no. That is the job of the accounts person. So had my question been how many of you are non-accounting professionals, then if your hands had gone up, I would have agreed with you. But folks, if collecting, recording, presenting financial information is not finance management, then what is finance management? I'm going to give you my definition now. I think finance management is merely the ability on the part of every individual in the organization to understand the financial implication of whatever you are doing. What do I mean by financial implication? The ability to understand impact on the organization's bottom line of every action of yours is what finance management is. And why should everybody understand how their actions are impacting the bottom line? So that as far as possible, every individual only does those things by which the bottom line becomes stronger and avoids doing things that hurt the bottom line. And folks, if this is what finance management is, then I think every individual whose actions have the power to affect the bottom line is a finance person. So if I once again ask you how many of your actions affect your company's bottom line, this time I hope all hands will go up. Then when people like you say, I'm a non-finance person, I kind of interpret that answer to be, you are saying, I don't care how my actions will affect my company's bottom line. But that's ridiculous. You should be doing nothing without first ensuring, are you strengthening that figure of profit or are you hurting it? Do everything that strengthens it, do nothing that hurts it. Tell me, when a salesperson is selling a product in the field, do his actions have a financial implication? The price at which he sells, the terms on which he sells, the credit which he offers, the person is out deciding to buy raw materials for your company, the quantity to be bought, the amount of raw material inventory to be maintained just in time or to hold inventory. Are these purely purchase decisions or are these financial decisions also? When the HR person decides how many people should be hired, on what terms should be hired, do his actions have financial implication? These are the decisions that will decide whether your organization makes a profit or not. When do organizations make a profit? Guys, you will appreciate 24/7 what every individual is doing in the company. That person's actions are either adding to the profit or taking away from the profit. When those people whose actions are financially intelligent and therefore they add to the bottom line, collectively speaking, when their actions are stronger than those who are hurting it, end result is profit, vice versa, it's a loss. And when your organization makes a profit, you start patting yourselves on the back, you know, I'm doing everything correct. You don't even know how many people are there who have eaten into that number. But now imagine an organization where financial literacy goes top to bottom, where everybody is empowered to understand the financial implication of the action that person takes. And as far as possible, all the employees are doing things by which the bottom line becomes stronger. Can you imagine what an amazing organization would that be? How many of you are non-finance people? But I do understand when you say you're non-finance, you're actually expressing your knowledge gaps. Today is not the time, but normally when we hold a workshop, those are the gaps we try and plug so that everybody can take financially intelligent decisions. But guys, today's topic given to me is romancing the balance sheet. So I'm going to give you a closer look at the balance sheet. Now pardon me, those of you who know more than others, because I'm going to first try and create a level playing field. So let me address the weakest link in the room right now. Anyone who doesn't know, let me talk to that person so that when everybody is together, we'll go on to higher things. All of you are familiar with the balance sheet? All of you have seen a balance sheet? Can I ask a very elementary question just to set the ball rolling? What are the two sides of a balance sheet, guys? And you know these always balance. That's not the reason it's called a balance sheet, that's what people think. But they balance. Why does a balance sheet balance? What is the sanctity that the items on this side, the total of those, and the items on this side, unconnected items, why is the total always the same? Tell me, what do liabilities represent? What does a liability mean? Liability means what you owe.
Our responsibility.
Why do you owe that money to somebody? Because you must have taken. If I come to Mr. Mande and say, Mr. Mande, give me a loan of 10,000 rupees, only then I will write on this side that I owe Mr. Mande 10,000 rupees, correct? In other words, liabilities tell you where the money has come from. Liabilities represent sources of money. What are assets? Assets are things that you own, things that you possess. And how did you get to own them? You must have spent this money and acquired them. So assets tell you what you did with them. Interesting spring over here, which keeps moving. I better hold it up. Assets tell you what you did with the money. Why do balance sheets balance? Thoda get the mic a bit louder. Work lower.
It's quite clear, it's quite
No. It's loud because I'm making it, you heard. I should be able to speak softly and still be heard. That's the role of the mic. If they put it off also, I'll still be able to do it. Okay. I was asking you, balance sheets balance because if you go to all these people on the left and collectively you borrow from them 100 rupees or 100 crores of rupees, and then you spend 100 crores and buy assets worth 100 crores, bound to balance. You might say, Anil, we agree with you. If you borrow 100 and spend 100, balance sheet will balance. What if I borrow 100 and don't spend the entire money? I don't have to. What if I buy assets only worth 90? Now why will the balance sheet balance? Folks, if you borrow 100 and spend 90, then the remaining 10 is in the form of cash in hand, cash at bank, and that is also shown as one of the assets. So if you borrow 100, spend 100, balance sheet will balance. If you borrow 100, spend 90, balance sheet will balance. Is it physically possible to borrow 100 and spend 110? Possible. When you spend 110, then 10 will be shown over here as a creditor. You were talking about that. As a payable, as an outstanding. You will now realize you cannot visualize a situation where a balance sheet won't balance. Whether you spend what you have, or you spend less than what you have, or you spend more than what you have, provided you agree with me, one side represents sources and the other side represents users. So let's say, I see Jeevan sitting over here. Let's say Jeevan starts a new business. Jeevan, correct? Different from what you're doing. Let's say Jeevan starts a furniture manufacturing organization. He starts a company called Jeevan Furnitures. Let us visualize a few transactions and prepare a balance sheet for it. Guys, tell me, what is the first step in business? Money. Who needs money? Jeevan needs money or Jeevan Furniture? We'll call it JF. Does JF need money or does Mr. Jeevan need money? Answer is JF needs money. Where will JF get money from? The first person it will go to is Jeevan. And Jeevan give us money. Jeevan says, how much do you want? Let's put reasonably large numbers. JF says, I want 1,000 crores. And Jeevan says, I am not interested in giving you 1,000 crores, but I don't mind giving you 400 crores. What is this 400 crores called?
Capital.
It is called his capital. If there are multiple owners, if the amount is large, they are called shareholders and the capital becomes share capital. But the requirement was 1,000. So what will they do for the remaining 600? They go to a bank or somebody and they take a loan. First point I'm trying to make is, please understand, when an organization needs money, how many options does it have? One. What is the option? Borrow. Who does it borrow from? It borrows from the owner. This may sound like a little contradiction in terms. You don't borrow from owners, you borrow from outsiders. But for JF, even Jeevan is an outsider. JF has borrowed from the owners, JF has borrowed from a bank. Since both are in the nature of borrowings, both are shown as a liability. But tell me, what is the difference between Mr. Jeevan as a lender and the banker as a lender? What's the difference?
Liability.
The difference obviously is in the terms of lending. On what terms did the banker lend? On what terms did Jeevan lend? Folks, you will appreciate when somebody goes to borrow, no lender is ever going to lend you money without asking a series of due diligence kind of questions. What kind of questions will a lender ask before lending? You would like to know, why are you asking for money? What do you intend to do with it? Where will you invest? How much do you think you will earn? What will you give us as reward if we give you the money? And the most important question, when are you going to give it back? So when JF wanted money and it went to Jeevan and it went to the bank, both these people must have asked these questions. What answer they must have received? Answer received must have been, JF must have said, Mr. Jeevan, Mr. Banker, I am asking for money because I intend setting up a furniture manufacturing enterprise. So you know what? I will take your money and first of all I will use it to buy some fantastic assets for myself. Number two, I will use your money to buy raw materials. Number three, I will use your money to hire people. And then when my product is ready, I will use your money to do sales and marketing and so on. And then when I have sold my product, I will make profit. And when I make profit, Mr. Jeevan, I will reward you. Mr. Banker, I will reward you also. And both these people must have said, JF, we have no doubt at all. When you earn, of course you will reward us. But our worry is something else. Our worry is you think you're going to earn. Can you please tell us what will happen in case you don't earn? And if JF must have said, gentlemen, if I earn, I will reward you. If I don't earn, how can I reward you? Listening to this kind of an answer, out of these two lenders, one will back out. Who will back out? The banker. The banker will say, if my rewards are going to depend upon whether you earn or you don't earn, then I'm sorry, I'm not interested in lending. I will lend you on one condition. What is the condition? Guarantee me a reward. And JF must have said, banker, that's pretty unfair. If I don't earn, how can I reward you? But we all know there are times in life where beggars can't be choosers. You want the banker's money, you will have to agree to the banker's conditions also. So reluctantly, JF must have said, all right, Mr. Banker, you expect us to continue giving you a reward even when we are losing money? All right, I'm going to agree to that because I have no choice. I need your money badly. But then JF must have said, Mr. Banker, then even I have a couple of requests. Request number one, if you expect me to continue giving you a reward, irrespective of whether I make a profit or loss, then first of all, Mr. Banker, don't keep your expectations sky high. You know, you want a reasonable kind of a return. Maybe I'll be able to afford it even when I'm losing money. Banker must have said, I'm happy with, you see that 10%? Banker must have said, I'm happy with 10%. And JF must have said, Mr. Banker, if you want me to give you 10%, even when I'm losing, I'm agreeing to that. But on the other hand, don't forget, I might earn. And I may earn a huge amount of profit also. Then you don't keep an eye on that. If I'm going to give you 10% when I'm losing, I will give you the same 10% when I make pots of money. Banker must have said, fair enough, I'd rather have the assurance of a guaranteed return than have the possibility of a very high return in 1 year and nothing in another year. Point I'm trying to make is, on what terms do bankers and outsiders lend the money? They lend the money on the condition, give us a guaranteed, but a limited amount of return. Now to this conversation going on between bank and JF, Jeevan is listening to it. Jeevan now turns around and says, JF, I am not like the bank. I am not so unreasonable. I understand you will have ups and downs in your life. Some years you'll make profits, some years you may not make profits. Jeevan says, JF, I am willing to give you my money with no guarantees. What does that mean? He says, JF, if you don't earn, I'm okay if you give me nothing. But then Jeevan says, you understand, I'm taking a risk, I might get nothing. So he says, JF, if you don't earn, I will take nothing. But to compensate for that risk, when you do earn, and after everybody has been paid off, then I will take everything. Is that also fair? On what terms do bankers and outsiders lend? They lend on the condition, we want a guaranteed but a limited amount of return. On what terms do owners lend? We don't want guarantees. But then we don't want limits on how much we can earn either. Everybody okay? Guys, this company has taken 400 crores from the owners, 600 crores from the bankers, 1,000 crores are now deployed on the right hand side, fantastic assets are purchased, assets are put into use, and this company now starts generating revenue. Imagine on deployment of 1,000 crores, this company has generated a sales revenue of 3,000 crores. So far, nobody has been paid. I want you to help me visualize how many groups of claimants can you visualize standing in a line saying we want a part of the 3,000 crores. How will the 3,000 crores be distributed? You still haven't paid salaries to employees. You haven't paid raw material suppliers. You haven't paid rent to the landlord. You haven't paid the printer, the stationer, the travel company, the telephone, the water, none of these. But these are items. I want groups. Can I say all these items comprise one group called operating expenses?
Direct expense, indirect.
So one group standing in a line, operating expenses. Second group standing in the line, Jeevan and friends. Third group standing in the line, the bankers and lenders. And fourth group, our partner in every venture that we have, government. Correct? For income tax, huh? not GST or something. GST is part of operating expenses. Guys, doesn't matter what line of business you are, doesn't matter where you are, whatever sales revenue your company will generate will get distributed between these four groups. But not in this order. Can you now help me choose the order? Whose claim are they going to entertain first? Country needs more people like you, but government abhi nahi. Top priority, operating expenses. First of the month comes, salary has to be paid. Landlord has to be paid. On the due date, overheads have to be paid. Imagine this company's operating expenses are 1,600 crores. How much is left? What is this 1,400 called? No. For gross profit, I'll have to divide that 16 into two parts. When I minus the first part, it's gross profit. When I minus the second part, this is either called operating profit, or what kind of profit is this? This is that stage of profit where from sales you have recovered operating expenses, but you still have not paid dividend to this man, you still have not paid interest to this man, you still have not paid income tax to the government. So this is also called PBIT, profit but before interest and tax. Or it is called EBIT, EBIT, earnings before interest and tax. How many groups are left now? Now whose turn? Now we pay the lenders. This company has borrowed 600 at 10%. So they will pay 60. That gives you 1340. What is this figure called? From PBIT, I has been paid. So PBT, profit before tax. Now two are left, shareholders and government. Now who do we pay? Now we'll pay the government. Imagine we pay the government 340. How much is left? 1000 crores. What is this figure called? This is now called PAT, profit after tax. Who does this belong to? Shareholders. Our shareholder happens to be Mr. Jeevan. So now in the line Jeevan is standing. He says, JF, I have told you, if you don't earn, I will take nothing. But then when you earn, and after everybody has been paid off, I will take everything. So Jeevan will say, JF, this 1000 crores, please give it to me. But when this company wanted Jeevan's money, they had gone and made all kinds of rash promises to Jeevan that yes, all the profit will be given to you and this and that. But now that it's time to actually give it to him, this company starts having a change of heart. They start negotiating with you. They say, Jeevan, we said all the profit belongs to you. And of course, it does belong to you. Ultimately, you are the owner, Mr. Jeevan. But they say, Jeevan, how much did you give us? 400. Had you not given this 400 to us, had you instead kept it in a bank, savings account, how much would you have earned? Not even 5%. Fixed deposit, maybe 6.5. Bonds, etc. 8, 9. Risky ventures, 15, 18, 20. They say, Jeevan, we can give you 30%. Or we can go up to 40%. Maybe we can stretch up to 50%. But don't take the entire 1000 crores away. Why are they saying this? Are they trying to cheat him? Answer is no, ultimately he is the owner. Then why are they not giving it to him? Have you noticed no company gives entire profit to shareholders? My question is why not? That is the condition on which the shareholder joined. What was the condition? If you don't earn, I will take nothing. Guys, you understand, had this company not earned, this part of the bargain they would have honored completely. Second part of the bargain was when you do earn, and after everybody is paid, I will take everything, and the company agreed. Why don't companies distribute entire profit to shareholders then?
They want to run.
Future plans.
Future plans.
Running costs.
They want to use
That means,
Expand.
that means when they promised him we'll give you everything, they said we'll stop running the business. No, they knew it even before when they promised.
Expansions and all.
So guys, whenever I ask this question, I get these similar answers. This company needs for future operation, this company needs money for growth, for expansion, they need money for emergency like pandemics, etc. Who knew things like this can happen? Some should be kept aside for that. And my response always is, I will accept all your answers as reason number 2 for not giving it to him. But there is a more important reason, number 1, why this profit is not given to him. My fault, I haven't explained that. I should have spent 3-4 hours before reaching this level, normally if it was a workshop going on. And one of the first things I would have explained over there, and all of you know it because you're entrepreneurs. One of the first things an entrepreneur realizes after starting a business is that there is no connection between the profit that a business makes and the bank balance that it has. In fact, there is a connection. I think there is an inverse relationship. Higher the profit, lower the bank balance. So folks, if this company makes a profit of 1000 crores, and even if they would love to give it to Jeevan, but to give it to Jeevan, they not only need a profit of 1000 crores, they need a bank balance of 1000 crore, which according to me is impossible. A company making a profit of 1000 crore, which is accompanied by a bank balance of 1000 crore, I think is impossible. But a company making a profit of 1000 crore, which is accompanied by a bank balance of minus 600 crore, absolutely possible. And therefore, the first and the most practical reason why this profit is not being given to Jeevan is, where is the money? This statement comes from the bottom of the heart of most entrepreneurs. Which statement? Where is the money? Accountant tells me so much turnover, so much profit. Bank में तो salary देने को पैसा नहीं. Assuming on the off chance this company not only had a profit of 1,000 crore, they also had a bank balance of 1,000 crore, they still would not have given it to Jeevan. Then those other arguments of growth, expansion, etc. would have come in. In short, end result will be this company will convince Jeevan. Jeevan, your 400, had you invested anywhere else, you would have earned 5%, 10%, 20%. We can give you 30, 40, 50, but please don't take the entire 1,000 crores away. And who's Jeevan? He's the owner. He understands if this is in the interest of the company not to give it to me, and I am the owner of that company, then it is in my interest not to take it away. Jeevan says, no problem, JF, you can't give me 1,000 crores. How much can you give me? 50%? Give me 50%. How much money did Jeevan invest in this company? How much is 50% of 400? So give him 200. Now how much is left? Who does this belong to? Who does it belong to? Who does it belong to? It does not belong to JF. It continues to belong to Jeevan. When Jeevan accepted 200 crore out of the promised 1,000 crores, he did not waive his right over the remaining 800. He simply said, JF, you can't give me 1,000 crore, doesn't matter. How much can you give me? 200? Give me 200. Use my 800 crores. So tell me, till yesterday, how much money did this company owe Jeevan? 400. Today, how much money does this company owe Jeevan? The original 400 they still owe. Now they owe him another 800. So guys, the profit that a business makes, which it doesn't distribute, also becomes a liability, and it is shown under a heading called reserves. Very often non-finance people get surprised, why is profit shown as a liability? Answer is because it is his. And if you did not give it to him, then you owe it to him. Tell me, what is this 4 plus 8, 1,200 together called? It is owner's money, but it's got a name. No, reserves is 800. What is 1,200? It is shareholders fund with another name. Equity. It is equity also, you're right. This is called the shareholders' net worth. How many of you invest in shares? Oops, sorry. Oh my God. Exceptionally low percentage. We need to do something on stock market. Yesterday I was telling in Belgaum that investing in shares is a national duty. Some other time we'll elaborate on that. The reason I asked was, if you do invest in shares, and imagine this company raised 400 crores by way of a public issue of share through an IPO. Then how did they raise 1,000 crores? 400 crores. They probably issued 40 crore shares, each carrying a face value of 10. And then what happened? Out of every year's profit, a certain amount of profit they used to distribute, certain amount of profit they used to retain. After a few years, the amount of profit retained in the business has mounted to 800 crores. Today, the net worth of the shareholders of this company has become 1,200 crores. Tell me, 1,200 crore is the net worth of how many shares? 40 crore shares. So what is the value of each share? 1,200 divided by 40. 30 rupees. What is the 30 rupees called? Face value is 10. What is 30 rupees? For market value, you have to go to the market. As per books, so book value. So here is a company having shares carrying a face value of 10. A 10 rupee face value share is now enjoying a book value of 30. Now go to the stock market and find out what is this share available in the stock market for. That could be 50, that could be 500, that could be 5,000 also. That can be an irrational place at times. That is called market value. So 3 terms I want you to remember in the context of shares. Number 1, face value, which is printed on the face of the share certificate. Number 2, book value, which is arrived at by dividing net worth with the number of shares. And third is the market value. Face value, book value are internal. Market value is external, over which you have no control. Everyone okay so far? Where did we start this conversation, guys? We started this conversation when I asked you a question, why does a balance sheet balance? And we agreed that a balance sheet balances because one side represents sources, the other side represents uses. I was trying to prove to you. Does the left-hand side represent sources? Is the first item a source? Who gave you that money? The owner. Is the second item a source? Yes. Who gave it to you? Again the owner. What's the difference between owner's first contribution and second contribution? In the first case, the owner physically invested money. In the second case, he didn't invest money, but he left behind something he could have legitimately taken home. So first item is the owner's direct contribution. Second is the owner's indirect contribution. Third item, is that a source of money? Who gave it to you? Some banker, some outsider, some lender? But guys, you not only go to bankers and borrow money, you also go to your vendors and say, supply me goods and services, I'll pay you 30 days later, 60 days later, 90 days later. That also appears over here. Is that a source of money? Answer is yes. From the third person you took a loan in cash, from the fourth person you took a loan in kind, but it's a loan nevertheless. Do you now recognize the left-hand side of the balance sheet as merely representing sources? Tell me, in any organization, how many sources are there? Answer is 2. Owners contribute, outsiders contribute. Both contribute in 2 ways, direct, indirect. Everyone okay? Yes. But the most important question to be answered is, why is this company borrowing money from everybody? It is borrowing from the owners, it is borrowing from outsiders, it is borrowing directly, it is borrowing indirectly. Guys, do you think this is an arbitrary collection of money? Or must it be as per a plan? Do you think this is a random collection of sources, or must it be as per design? It better be as per a plan. But it's not funny how often it is not. And if this money has come without a specific plan in mind, then in my opinion, very often this company has sown the seeds of sickness even before it has taken off. It better be as per a plan. Imagine JF raised this money without a plan. They took whatever they could from whoever. They took whatever Jeevan could give them. They took whatever bank could give them. It was a random collection of money. Now what will happen, guys? If this money has come in without a specific plan in mind, then when Jeevan starts investing this money on behalf of JF, he will discover one out of 2 things happening. Possibility number 1, money has come without a plan. Possibility number 1, when he starts buying the assets, he will find halfway through acquisition of assets, he will run out of money. Or he will find he was able to buy all the assets that he wanted and there was money left over. What I'm trying to tell you is, if money has come without a plan, you will either run short of money or you will have excess money. Tell me, which is a happier state of affairs? Should an organization have less money than they need, or should it have more money than they need? Let us examine both. Let's imagine they had less money than they wanted. When Jeevan started investing the money, halfway through setting up the factory, he finished his money. How will he run the factory? Folks, if you have less money than you need, you will get into trouble. If you have more money than you need, I think you will get into bigger trouble. I am now giving you a mantra of good finance management, and that mantra says, please remember, less is bad, more is worse. I think how less is bad everybody can readily appreciate. How can more be worse? Unfortunately, even today I will not be able to tell you. We'll run out of time. I need 3, 4, 5 hours for that. But remember, this rule applies across life. If you're running a manufacturing setup, what kind of installed capacity should you have in your factory? Less than necessary or more than necessary? How much inventory should you hold in your warehouse? Less than necessary or more than necessary? How much manpower should you have on your rolls? Less or more? Less is bad, more is worse. How much blood pressure, guys, should we have in our body? Less is bad, more. This rule applies across life. And therefore the name of the game is optimization. So right now what I'm trying to tell you is, therefore, how much money an organization should raise is a matter of art. Because if you land up raising less money than you need, you will get into trouble. If you raise more money than you need, you'll get into bigger trouble. So how do you know how much money you should raise? That answer will be given to you by the right side of your balance sheet. And therefore, in my opinion, if you're in a position to start a new business, a new enterprise, a new project, the first exercise you must do is to prepare an imaginary balance sheet of the business or project that you intend to set up. And tell me, which side of the imaginary balance sheet will you make first? Answer is right hand side. Visualize till the last penny possible that if this business of mine has to succeed, if this project of mine has to see the light of day, then how much money do I need? How much do I need for land? How much do I need for building? And no guessing, guys. If you write over there a figure against land, I have to assume before putting that figure, you have gone, scouted for land, shortlisted the land, negotiated the price, maybe signed a document to freeze the price. Then you are saying, when you wrote, I need so much money for machinery, I assume that's preceded by inviting quotations, etc., etc. Now what do? Right hand side is ready, total it up. Jeevan prepares the right side of his balance sheet, totals it up, it comes to 1,000 crores. Now Jeevan knows to make this business a success, I need 1,000 crores. Step number 2, look inside. How much does he have? Oh, he has got 400. His business needs 1,000 crores. The next realistic exercise you have to do, okay, where is the difference going to come from? Who's going to be willing to give it to me? This is called capital structure planning. And now when a blueprint is ready, this much money is required and this is the way I propose to fund it. Now when you start the real thing, start with the left hand side. First invest the money that you propose investing out of pocket. Simultaneously start the process of borrowing. And once money comes in, you start investing. Now I want you to help me visualize right side of this balance sheet. What will Jeevan do with this money? Where will he invest? A significant portion he will use to acquire infrastructure. If he wants to set up a furniture manufacturing enterprise, he needs land and building and plant and machinery. These items appear in your balance sheet under a heading called fixed assets. Let Jeevan invest sizable proportion of money on the acquisition of infrastructure. But he better make sure that he does not exhaust his resources in the process. Why does he need working capital? Let's say Jeevan wanted to start the finest furniture manufacturing company in the country. He wanted to be the best. Because it was his desire to be the best, he also wanted the best quality infrastructure. So when he went to buy the infrastructure, let's imagine he got a little carried away. And Jeevan landed up spending more money on infrastructure than he should have. What is the result? The result is today Jeevan has the best infrastructure in the country to make furniture, but in the process finished all his money. Let's say next day, Praveen lands up over there. And Praveen says, Jeevan, I am starting a new IT services company. And in my company, I require tables and chairs worth 100 crores alone. And looking at your infrastructure, I think you are the best person in the country to supply it to me. I am very happy to give you an order of 100 crores. Will Jeevan be able to execute the order? Answer is no. Why not? No money left for working capital. So let's visualize components of working capital. Why does he need working capital? Jeevan is a very lucky person. He started the factory yesterday. Today Praveen walks in with an order. But Jeevan will have to be far luckier than that for Praveen to say that Jeevan, I have not only brought you an order of 100 crores, but my order of 100 crores comes along with a check of 100 crores. That's not going to happen. Unless Jeevan is an absolutely exceptional kind of a company. He'll be lucky enough to get the order. And Jeevan has to understand in this 100 crore order of Praveen's, 60 crore is the wood component. Unless he has the financial resources, not only to buy land building machine, but also to invest 60 crore in wood, can he run his business? And as a prudent business person, he's not going to buy wood after the customer has walked in. He will probably buy and maintain an inventory of wood in anticipation of orders so that the day the customer walks in, production can start right away. So first component of working capital is to have the financial resources, not only to buy infrastructure, but also to buy and maintain inventory. Second component of working capital is Praveen's order of 100 crores is a reasonably large order. Jeevan needs at least 3 months to execute the order. But guys, next week is the first of the month, and Jeevan's employees are waiting for salary, and landlord is waiting for rent, and overheads have to be paid. He can't tell his employees, just bear with me for 3 months. The day Praveen pays me, I will pay you salary. No, sir. Every business person understands expenses are continuous, incomes are sporadic. And therefore, prudence demands that you hold on to sufficient amounts of cash in hand so that your day-to-day expenses can continue to be met irrespective of inflow from operations. And after 3 months of hard work, Jeevan goes to Praveen. Praveen, your order is ready. Consignment is ready. Would you like to come, inspect, give me the go-ahead so I can send it to you? Praveen comes there, says, great job done, Jeevan. Send the goods to me. And Jeevan says, okay, Praveen, what about my check? He says, no problem. Come 60 days later, collect your check. Not only Jeevan did not get advance, even on delivery he may not get paid. He now needs further financial muscle power to be able to last another 60 days. In the meantime, business has to continue, guys. Third component of working capital is debtors. Who are debtors? These are people who owe you money. So sometimes people wrongly interpret them as suppliers of money. Why am I calling it a wrong interpretation? If they owe you money, aren't they suppliers of money? But you and I have agreed, left-hand side is the sources, right-hand side is the users. If these guys are suppliers of money, they should be shown as a source, isn't it? Why are they shown as a use? Answer is, debtors are perhaps future suppliers of money. Today they represent consumers of money. In Jeevan's balance sheet, if there's 100 crore receivable from a customer, when the customer will pay him is a different story. But right now in that 100 crore, 60 crore of wood Jeevan has invested. 8 crore of power bill Jeevan has paid. 9 crore of labor cost Jeevan has paid. At great cost you make the product and you have to smile and tell a customer, go ahead, take it, pay me later. You need the muscle power to be able to do that. Tell me, is the structure of balance sheet okay to all of you? What does the left hand side tell you? Where the money came from. What does the right hand side tell you? Where it went. Where does money come from? Typically, two sources. Owners contribute, outsiders contribute. Both contributed two ways. Direct, indirect. Where does money go in any organization? Two avenues. Structure, represented by fixed assets. Working capital, represented by current assets. How many components of working capital are there? Inventory, cash and bank balances, debtors. Everyone okay? Folks, a few years back, the Reserve Bank of India had conducted a study. It conducted a study of all the sick businesses in the country, businesses that had failed. And the idea was to find out, why do businesses fail? Let's do some brainstorming amongst ourselves. Why do businesses fail, guys? We all know India started a globalization, liberalization program with effect from 1991. Narasimha Rao, Manmohan Singh together started the process. What was the situation in India before 91? We were not an open country. A foreign company couldn't decide, let's go to India and set up shop. Impossible. Even domestic companies could not set up at their will. We had something called license Raj. Consequently, what happened? There were two companies making motor cars, one company making medicines, one airline, one mutual fund, UTI, and so on. No competition, no incentive to improve. Pune, where I live, there's a company called Bajaj Auto. They used to make scooters, now they make motorcycles. I'm told at one time, if you wanted to buy a Bajaj scooter, you had to pay 33% booking advance. 33% booking advance for a capital goods item like a scooter. Father used to book, son used to get delivery. So as a result, if somebody bought a scooter from Bajaj in the 60s, or the mid 70s, or the late 80s, or the early 90s, no difference in that scooter. No innovation, no improvement, barring some cosmetic changes here and there. Even to turn, you had to show a hand. The indicator was not there, right? 1991, government opened up its doors. Foreign players came. Now, what are we doing, guys? We are now discussing why do businesses fail. I want to brainstorm with you. 1991, government opened up the doors. Foreign players came in, suddenly competition came in. Chances are some domestic players must have found now competition has come from a foreign player. This foreign player is way ahead of us in technology. Compared to this foreign player, our technology is out of date. And we don't have the money to buy new technology. Do you think it is possible in the post-91 era, some domestic players must have become technologically obsolete? Do you think technological obsolescence could have been responsible for a certain portion of sickness in industry? Possible?
Yes.
There could be a second category of entrepreneurs who technology-wise were as good as anybody else already. The problem was not the ability to make. Their weakness was they knew how to make, but they didn't know how to sell. Do you think marketing inefficiency can lead to sickness?
Yes.
There could be a third category of entrepreneurs who knew how to make and who knew how to sell. But their misfortune was they had a very militant and unreasonable trade union, which went on extended periods of strike. For months, production came to a halt. Do you think labor problem will lead to sickness? Folks, Reserve Bank of India conducted a study of all the sick businesses in the country. And their study has found out of all the sick companies, over 95% were not sick due to any of these three reasons. That means these three reasons and some more put together were responsible for not even 5% of failures. And over 95% businesses failed due to one reason. I've given you Indian statistics, but my statistics applies all over the world. It is an undisputed fact that in the world, if 10 companies shut down, 9 of them have probably shut down because of bad finance management. And recent history has told us not only companies have shut down, entire countries and economies have shut down due to bad finance management. Entire subprime crisis of the United States can be attributed solely to bad finance management. Right now, as we speak, there are countries in Europe, Greece, Portugal, Spain, Italy. There are countries in South America, Venezuela. There are countries down south in a neighbor, Sri Lanka, Nepal, all suffering the consequences of bad finance management. But what does it mean? What does it mean when I tell you 90 to 95% failures happen due to bad finance management? I will tell you what it means to me. Supposing I meet an entrepreneur who says, Anil, my business shut down. Why? I became technologically obsolete. I don't understand how to blame him. This poor guy finds in front of him a giant has come from overseas. This giant is miles ahead in technology. Compared to that fellow, his technology is out of date and he doesn't have money to buy new technology. How can you blame him? Or somebody comes to me and says, Anil, my business failed because of labor problems. Sympathies go out to him. How do you blame him? But when somebody says, my business failed because of financial mismanagement, I think the entire blame lies on his shoulder. Guys, why did he shut down? Remember I asked you this question? Many hands went up. Because the real finance people call themselves non-finance. People like me are not the finance guys. Please understand, the people you call as finance people are not there when finance management is happening. Finance management or mismanagement is happening when in the field the purchase manager is buying, when on the field the production guy is producing, when the sales fellow is selling. People like me come into the picture after everything is over. We do a post-mortem and tell you whether you made a profit or not. I am saying the people who call themselves non-finance are the ones who generate profit for the company. People you call as finance are the ones who calculate profit for the company. Should you call the action that generate profit as finance, or should you call the action that calculate profit as finance? I am trying to say, even if you have the best finance people in the world working for you, Your company can still suffer from bad finance management because by the time the professionals come into the picture, the good or the damage is already done. And this inability to understand, sir, is responsible for 90 to 95% of business. I am saying if more people did, you guys have taken time out of your busy schedules. I know each of you, they were giving a background about all of you. You're all busy people, successful people. You've taken time out of your busy schedule. You're sitting over here. Today you're sitting for 1 hour. Sometimes you take time, do longer courses. The more you arm yourselves with this understanding, the more benefits you will reap out of it. So when I stand or sit in front of groups of people like you, and I go on and on how important finance management in any company is, what a price we pay for bad finance management. And therefore what every organization needs to practice is good finance management. And when will good finance management happen in your company? Only when every individual recognizes it is my responsibility. When I go on and on like this, chances are one of you gets up and says, Anil, I'm convinced. I'm convinced, number one, finance management very important. Number two, in my organization, good finance management will only happen when everybody says, my finance management is good. So what is your next logical question to me? Next question will be, so Anil, can you tell us what is good finance management so that I can start practicing from tomorrow? Now, when somebody would ask me this question, my reaction used to be, I'm sorry, good finance management is not a two-line definition. It's a whole subject. It's a whole philosophy. It takes years to learn. And then I feel the unfairness of it all. What am I doing? I am first communicating to you how important the subject is. I am perhaps creating in you a desire of willing to take the effort to learn. And when you say I'm willing and I'm ready, I say, I'm sorry, I have no answers for you. I used to wonder, can I give you a magic formula? You want to practice good finance management from tomorrow? Here is a magic formula. Do this from tomorrow, good finance management will happen. Obviously, there are no magic formula. But what I have is something pretty close to that. Today again, I won't be able to do justice. We'll run short of time. But I will give you in a nutshell. I have condensed what, according to me, is the essence of good finance management. And I will share it with you in the form of 2 rules. Let's call them the 2 golden rules of good finance management. My complete conviction is, you understand these 2 rules. Good news is, they're very easy to understand. According to me, the entire subject of finance is a common sense subject. It's not rocket science. You understand these 2 rules, you internalize these 2 rules. If you promise me never to violate these 2 rules, I will promise you, most problem that others suffer on account of bad finance management, you will not. I repeat, if you promise me never to violate these 2 rules, I will promise you a majority of problem that affects others, and please understand, a majority of problem that affects others is financial mismanagement related. You will not suffer from it. So I am going to share these rules, but in a nutshell, because each rule then deserves 1.5 hours, 2 hours of discussion, obviously for which we don't have the time. Some other day maybe I'll come back and we'll do that. But today I'll give you in a nutshell. But to understand those 2 rules, it is very, very important we are on the same page so far as this is concerned. That is why I made you go through that together. Now, everybody familiar with this statement? What is this? Balance sheet. What does the left hand side tell you? Sources, no longer liabilities. What does the right hand side tell you? Uses. How many sources are there in any organization? 2. Which are the 2 sources? Owners and outsiders. Both give you direct and indirect. Where does money go in any organization? How many avenues? 2. Infrastructure, working capital. Components of working capital? 3. Inventory, cash and bank balances, debtor. Everybody clear? Now what are these 2 rules? First rule says, if the left hand side of the balance sheet represents sources, and the right hand side represents uses, and folks, you must always remember, never forget, that out of all these sources of money, none are free. Money is not free. Sources come at a cost. You may say, okay, so what? So what if sources have come at a cost? Because what did we do with these sources? We went and deployed them here. What did we acquire out of these sources? We have acquired some fantastic assets for ourselves. And what kind of assets are these? Hopefully what you have acquired are productive assets. So folks, if sources of money appearing on the left-hand side of the balance sheet have a cost attached to them, then the utilization of money appearing on the right side of the balance sheet have an ability to earn associated with them. And the first fundamental common sense rule of good finance management says you should never invest your money into any activity, any project, any business without ensuring that what you can earn from the right hand side is at least equal to, preferably greater than, the corresponding cost of the left hand side. Absolutely common sense rule? Yes. What does the rule say? Rule says recognize left side of the balance sheet has a cost, right side of the balance sheet possesses an ability to earn. You should invest your money only after ensuring what you can earn from the right hand side is either equal to or greater than the cost of the left hand side. Correct? On the one hand, this is such an elementary rule that to understand this rule, you don't even need to be literate. I think even illiterates understand this. What do I mean by that? Guys, imagine there's an illiterate person over there. You call him, tell him, listen, there's a money lender sitting on that corner. Will you go to that money lender and borrow 10,000 rupees? This illiterate man goes to the money lender, borrows 10,000, but the money lender says, I will charge you 15% interest. Now the moment this illiterate fellow walks out of the money lender shop, you intercept him. Tell him, give this 10,000 to me and I will give you 10%. What answer will you get? No. Why not? Now this illiterate man is not going to use this language. But he's saying, I can't give it to you because what you offered me just now is violating golden rule number 1. What was golden rule number 1? First understand what money is costing you. And then when you invest, don't invest unless you can earn a return which is equal to or greater than cost of capital. So folks, on the one hand, I told you this is a golden rule of good finance management. On the other hand, I am telling you, even illiterates understand this. Your reaction will be, Anil, if everybody already understands this, why are you calling it a golden rule? Ladies and gentlemen, you will be amazed. You will be amazed what an illiterate person will not do. How many large corporations there are that are guilty of doing. What are they guilty of doing? They are guilty of investing their money into avenues where they are not even generating a return which is even equal to the cost of capital, and what is scary is they don't even know it. Like I said today, I will not be able to elaborate, but to just prove my point, how many of you sitting in this room, most of you must be having your own businesses, how many of you know your cost of capital? I can see one hand up. My normal experience is usual percentage is 2 or 3. Today it's less than 1%. The rest of you are still thinking, processing in your mind, what did he mean by cost of capital? Correct? Guys, if you don't know your cost of capital, how do you know you're not already guilty of violating rule 1? In my opinion, the cost of capital should be carrying in your pocket, written on a piece of paper. Every time you meet an investment opportunity, figure out how much can you earn, compare it with the cost of capital. Only take a decision to invest where you're earning equal to or greater than cost of capital. Later on, I also need to elaborate, why do I say equal to? Should I not be saying greater than? Equal to is also good enough. I've been talking about this for too many years, but recently I was reading an article. Have you heard of a company called Bain? Bain and Company. Very fine. Have you heard of an American politician called Mitt Romney? If you follow American politics, you would have come across a name called Mitt Romney. Republican politician, Trump's party. Trump almost appointed him Secretary of State when he was president. Then he changed his mind. Mitt Romney was also a presidential candidate in 2012 when Barack Obama stood for re-election and obviously he lost. Mitt Romney is a very fine politician, very intelligent person, very successful business person. Amongst other things, owns a group of companies by the name of Bain. Bain is also there in Bangalore and in Gurgaon in India. I was reading an article that Bain and Company research has found that in the US, 9 out of 10 businesses routinely fail to earn even the cost of capital. 9 out of 10 guys. That means when this illiterate fellow said no, 9 out of 10 in US would have said yes. And if that's the case of US, you can imagine what must be the case of it. How it happens, some other day I'll explain to you. You went to this illiterate fellow, you said, give me this 10,000, I will pay you 10%. What answer did you get? No, why not? He said, I'm paying 15. How can I give it to you 10? Let's say you tell him, okay, you're paying 15, I understand. I'll be happy to give you 20%. Can he give it to you now? Is this investment opportunity satisfying rule 1? Yes. But he may still not give it to you. Now why will he not give it to you? He may not give it to you if this investment opportunity, which is satisfying rule number 1, is perhaps not satisfying rule number 2, which I haven't told you yet. Now rule number 2, I want you guys to draft it yourselves. I'm going to give you the situation, you tell me the rule. Folks, when this illiterate fellow went to the money lender, I want to borrow 10,000. Money lender said, all right, but I will charge you 15% interest. And money lender said, Mr. Borrower, one more condition. Make sure you return this money in 1 month. You went to him, you said, give it to me, I'll pay you 20%. And I will return the money after 2 months. Now this investment opportunity satisfies rule 1, but fails to satisfy rule 2, still should not be taken up. Can you help me put rule 2 into words? Rule 2 says also don't forget. First, what I tell you not to forget, money is not free. Rule number 2 says also don't forget, none of these sources on the left hand side are gifts. Under what heading do we show them? Liabilities. What does it mean? It means every person who has given you the money today is the same person who will be standing outside your door sometime or the other saying, I want it back. But guys, you took this money and deployed it here. But the guys on the left are going to come asking for it back. How will you give it back? And therefore, rule number 2 says, invest your money in such a way that the assets will bring it back before the liabilities come asking for it back. Rule number 1 says, if I give you graphically, rule number 1 says sources have a cost, users must earn, not only they should earn, preferably earn greater than the cost. Rule number 2 says sources are ultimately liabilities, they'll have to be paid back. So make sure, please understand, a business has only one thing, that is a balance sheet. Left side finances the right side. Number 1, right side has to earn to service the left hand side, and number 2, right side has to generate a cash inflow before outflow on account of liability has to happen. So make sure the inflow happens before the outflow has to happen. If I give you in words, rule number 1 says investment in assets must generate a return, which is at least equal to, I have to elaborate someday why I keep emphasizing on equal to. Should I not be saying it should earn greater than the cost of capital? Even equal to is good enough. And rule 2 says assets must bring an inflow before liabilities demand an outflow. Guys, these are not standard rules, these are my rules. But bring me any sick company's balance sheet and I will tell you which of these 2 rules was violated. Had it not violated these 2 rules, that company would not be sick. We can have a little question answer now. Shutter, this is required. So I put it there.
The contact details are required.
Mine are there. Mine are here. Yeah. You want me to say something about that QR code, guys? What is it?
I think you need to scan the QR code with the WhatsApp number to join the group.
Yes, pointer will explain that activity.
Dr. Anil will be sending updates every.
This is for that, huh?
Yeah, this is for
Then
that.
I'll tell them.
Yeah.
Folks,
Update.
to a select group of people, every Sunday you'll get a little paragraph, food for thought. And midweek you get some 30-40 second video. In case you'd like to receive those, then you have to scan this QR code and join that group.
Scan it through your WhatsApp application so that you'll be joining the group directly.
Should we have a little question session? Yes. So if anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anil. It's been fantastic. I've been into many classrooms before, financial classes, but this is the best class that I've ever been to. Within the just given time, just understand it so beautifully. My question here is that while the cost is certain, okay, when we are talking about the liability part, whereas when we're talking about the users.
Let me correct you there itself.
Yeah.
If I start discussing cost of capital, you'll be amazed at the amount of misconception there are about it. And the biggest misconception pertains to which is the most expensive source over here on the left hand side.
Borrowings,
The cheapest is
investments.
Okay, continue. Sorry.
So there, when we're talking about that as to why the businesses fail, you mentioned that over 95% of the cases, because violation of the two rules. In my understanding, the cost part is always certain. Cost part is always certain when we are negotiating.
But any case.
In general. Whereas,
If you sit through that session, you'll understand how many hidden dimensions are there also.
yeah, yes. So in my opinion, in my humble opinion, so when we are making a general assessment of the situation here, so the cost part is always certain, more or less, because we are negotiating, when we are sitting with the banker, as you rightly mentioned, there is a...
Because that is only one source, that is only certain source. The other three are also there.
Yeah.
Which are most uncertain, which nobody understands.
Yeah.
That is where the biggest confusion comes from.
Yeah, and whereas when we're talking about the other part, then there's obviously, there's no clue as to what's, because you're saying either be equal or preferably this should be more than what we...
I got what you're saying,
Yeah.
but I feel it's the other way around. The more certainty is about the right hand side than the left hand
Oh,
side.
that's interesting. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, if there are no more questions, then thank you very much, guys. Thanks for coming. Yeah, there is one question there.
We always talk about the working capital. If I'm thinking about going for a negative working capital, do you think in
Suicidal.
it is possible?
Suicidal. But on the other hand, a company like L&T, where I'm training 100,000 people in one company alone, we actually encourage them to have negative, but then we teach them how to use negative. Negative is a very, in fact, that rule 2 gets violated when you're negative, working capital negative. So needs more elaboration, but otherwise it can be suicidal.
Why suicidal? Because
Because
you said
the moment you have a
cost-
negative working capital,
money has a cost. I'm going to reduce the cost because I'm buying the money from bank.
so the rule 1 gets satisfied, rule 2 gets violated. Negative working capital means you have more short-term money than your short-term requirement. If you have more short-term money than short-term need, it automatically goes toward long-term. And when a company starts using short-term money to acquire long-term assets, that is where the whole undoing starts. It's a very paradoxical situation.
Sir, please come again. If the company requires
When you have more short-term resources than can be absorbed in short-term avenues, that's when you have negative working capital. Then this short-term money finances long-term assets.
That is not.
That is suicide. Kingfisher, ILRFS, Bhushan Steel, SR, JP Associates, Lanco Infrastructure, Deccan Chronicle, Chennai mein Subiksha, and a dozen others. I've got case studies. All demise can be traced exactly to this. Supermarket, Subiksha was a supermarket. So क्या होता है? Whatever you buy on credit. Supplier gives you, baker gives you bread, farmer gives you eggs, FMCG gives you cosmetic. Pay us 60 days later, 90 days later. Every customer on the way out pays cash.
Yes.
So negative working capital.
Correct.
और ये कैश पड़ा है, but कि short term है. आज है 60 day के बाद देना है. But Subiksha growing at breakneck speed. At one time they were opening a new store every week.
But that is wrong.
Then they were
investment
opening 2 new stores every day.
Yeah.
Now where do you get all that money from?
That means you're investing money in non-performing assets.
नहीं, performing होगा तो भी डूबोगे. Non-performing है तो you compounding the felony. Then तो double whammy हो गया. Non-performing खरीदना itself is that is the reason my mantra less is bad, more is worse. Anything more is NPA. वो mantra जो मैंने elaborate नहीं किया, essence is that only. If you have less, you'll suffer. Inventory कम रखोगे, production time पे नहीं होगा. ज़्यादा रखोगे तो it's NPA.
बस से ज़्यादा problem.
So NPA का दूसरा problem है. Now you added 2 problems together. Yes, sorry. You were saying.
So, in all our accounting systems, we have that debit and credit. But when it comes to the balance sheet, then we
It
say
has
that-
debit and credit. Only the sides are different.
No, but why did we change the sides? Because I feel.
The whole world is different. In America, you have assets on the left and liabilities on the right. Nowadays, you have vertical balance sheet. So side doesn't matter. Na? So long as one side is debit, one side is credit.
No, my understanding is our Indian system says पहले जमा बाद में खर्च. जमा होने के बगैर
That is
खर्च
a humorous
होगी नहीं.
explanation one gives, but
No, no.
the fact is.
No, that is what we followed, and that's why after paying debit and credit in trading account, debit and credit in
नहीं, but
P&L
debit
account.
credit Indian concept ही नहीं है ना. Concept ही
No,
बात है.
even they, when it came to the balance sheet, they had to go in for Jama and Kharch first. This is my understanding of that. Any clarification?
Like humorous understanding, but wrong.
So what is your suggestion to invest the money of a profit as a partner, as a proprietor of a firm, partner of a firm?
Every penny should go back into the business. Otherwise, you're not growing, stagnating.
Excess amount of a person.
That statement itself gets me worried. That
No,
means the
sir.
business is not growing enough.
No, sir. Now what is my question? One person earned 1,000 crore, surplus with him. What is the idea?
Can you imagine somebody going to Dhirubhai Ambani and saying 1,000 crore le le se main kya karega? I don't need it.
How to invest?
Never. So in your own business or you're in the wrong business, change your business. A successful business is perpetually short of money.
Yeah.
Because your opportunities for growth are always greater. Done. Thank you guys, thank you so much.
Request everybody to settle down, please, for 2 minutes. Just for 2 minutes. Please settle down. Please settle down. We also have a hot, live dosas ready for you. Just wait for a couple of minutes. Now I request President and the office bearers to felicitate our chief guest, Dr. Anil Lamba. And also a big round of applause from everybody. I think it was I'm sure everybody got converted from non-finance to finance now. Yeah. And also decoded the term romance and as well as the balance sheet. Right?
First person being felicitated for proving us wrong.
On behalf of Karnataka Chamber of Commerce and Industries, I would like to extend our heartfelt thanks to Dr. Anil Lamba for his wonderful workshop on romancing the balance sheet. It was a very informative and engaging program that has enlightened us on various aspects of financial management. I would like to express our gratitude to Studio 2000 Jayesh for sponsoring the digital setup for the event, and Praful Gaikwad, who is the executive assistant to the Dr. Anil Lamba, Shashizar Shetter, committee chairman, who made this program possible. The efforts and dedication have ensured that we have received high quality presentation. And thank all the attendees for this. We have arranged snacks, hot dosas. So request everyone to have it. Thank you one and all.